Admiral Zekthara stared at the tactical display, her three eyes blinking in rapid succession, a sign of distress among her species. The massive energy barrier surrounding the Sol system pulsed with an ominous red glow, indicating critical structural failure. "How is this possible?" she hissed through her translator. "The containment field was designed to hold back stellar explosions." Her tactical officer, a nervous Krillian with trembling antennae, consulted his readings. "Admiral, the humans appear to have modified the barrier's resonance frequency. They're using our own technology against us. 3 months earlier, the galactic hegemony had made what seemed like a simple decision. Humanity had proven too unpredictable, too dangerous to remain free among the stars. After the incident at Proxima Station, where human engineers had somehow converted a garbage processing plant into a faster-than-light communications array, the Council had voted unanimously. Earth would be quarantined, the hegemony's finest. Scientists had constructed an impenetrable energy dome around the entire Sol system. Nothing could get in or out, no ships, no signals, no hope. Humanity would be trapped until they learned to behave like civilized beings. They should have remembered that humans had never been particularly good at staying caged. Dr. Sarah Chen pressed her palm against the cool metal of the barrier analysis station. For weeks, she and her team had studied the alien technology that imprisoned them. The energy field was elegant in its simplicity, a quantum lattice that phase-shifted matter and energy, creating an impermeable wall. "It's beautiful," she murmured to her colleague, Dr. James Okafor. "Look at these harmonic patterns. The aliens built this like a musical instrument." James raised an eyebrow. "A musical instrument that's keeping 8 billion people trapped in their own solar system." "Exactly." Sarah's eyes gleamed with that particular intensity that made her both the best theoretical physicist on Earth and the most dangerous. But every instrument can be played. The breakthrough came from an unexpected source. Maria Santos, a 12-year-old from São Paulo, had been participating in the global Break the Barrier project, a crowdsourced initiative to find weaknesses in their prison. While playing with her grandmother's old radio, she discovered that certain frequencies could create tiny ripples in the barrier's surface. Within hours, Sarah's team was analyzing Maria's discovery. The barrier operated on quantum harmonics, and like any system based on wave mechanics, it could be made to resonate. The question wasn't whether they could break it, it was whether they could control what happened when they did. "We're not going to break the barrier," Sarah announced to the emergency session of the United Earth Council. "We're going to turn it inside out." President Morrison leaned forward. "Explain." "The barrier works by creating a phase-shifted boundary between our space and normal space. But phase-shift technology is bidirectional. If we can reverse the polarity and amplify the resonance—" She paused, grinning. "We turn our prison into the biggest weapon in galactic history." Admiral Zekthara watched in horror as her fleet's instruments registered impossible readings. The barrier around Sol wasn't collapsing, it was expanding, and everything it touched simply ceased to exist, not destroyed, but phase-shifted into a dimension where matter couldn't survive. "They're weaponizing the containment field," her science officer reported, his voice cracking with panic. "The expansion rate is accelerating exponentially." The Admiral's tactical mind raced through possibilities. The humans had somehow inverted their prison into an expanding sphere of annihilation. At current acceleration, it would reach the nearest hegemony worlds within days. "Send a priority transmission to the Council," she ordered. Full surrender. Immediate withdrawal of all forces from human space. But her communications officer was already shaking his head. Admiral, we can't get a signal through. The phase barrier interferes with all our communication arrays. On Earth, Sarah Chen stood in the Global Communications Center, watching as messages poured in from across the hegemony. Ships fleeing the expanding barrier had carried word of humanity's response to their captivity. Some species were terrified. Others were impressed. A few were already requesting alliance negotiations. Dr. Chen, the communications officer called out, we're receiving a transmission from the Galactic Council. It's an unconditional surrender. Sarah nodded calmly. And our response? We accept their surrender, President Morrison said, stepping into the center. But we have terms. The barrier stopped expanding exactly 72 hours after it began, stabilizing at a radius that encompassed 17 star systems, all of them now under human protection. The hegemony's former prison had become humanity's first interstellar territory. Admiral Zekthara found herself seated across from a human negotiator in what had once been a hegemony command ship. The human was young, female, and possessed an unsettling smile. You tried to cage us, the human said simply. That was your first mistake. Your second was thinking we'd stay caged quietly. The Admiral's translator struggled with the human's next words, but the meaning was clear enough. We appreciate the gift of advanced barrier technology. We'll put it to good use protecting the smaller species you've been bullying. As the Admiral was escorted to her new quarters aboard what was now a human vessel, she reflected bitterly on the hegemony's hubris. They had treated humanity like a wild animal to be contained, never considering that humans were something far more dangerous, engineers with nothing left to lose and all the time in the universe to figure out how to escape. The barrier still hummed around those 17 star systems, no longer a prison, but a fortress. And at its heart, Earth spun peacefully on its axis, its people already planning their next impossible feat of engineering. The galaxy would never make the mistake of trying to cage humanity again.